Hi, and welcome back to the Blackhawk Martial Arts. I'm Kurt Sussman. Today we're going to go over the phase system of the Blackhawk Martial Arts. And the phase system is 10 phases that represent anything that the human body can do. So let's start with phase one. A phase one is one singular motion. It can be circular or it can be linear. Doesn't matter if it's a knee strike or an elbow strike or a punch or a block. These are all phase ones. It doesn't matter where it comes from, what style it is. If it's one motion done at one time, it's a phase one. A phase two is two motions done at the same time. It can be two linear motions, two circular motions, or a circular motion and a linear motion. And they're very, very efficient because you're doing two things at the same time. Now, generally, you'll have one hand engaging in a defensive way, like a block or a parry, and one hand striking. So here's an easy way to understand a phase two. You can engage defensively with the front hand or the back hand. So I can parry to the outside and strike to the center. I can parry and slip to the opponent's outside, strike this way. I can block an elbow strike. These are all phase twos. I can also engage with the backhand and strike, or parry and strike. These are phase twos. So phase one, phase two. Now let's get into phase threes. These are a little trickier. They involve circular motion. There can be linear motion with these, but there will always be circular motion. Very important with the phase three is that when one hand engages, the other hand will be at the opposite line. So if one hand is high outside, the other hand will be low inside. For instance, if I'm starting up here, they switch. They will always be opposite of each other in a circular motion. Maybe ending up with a circular motion as well, maybe a linear. But without getting too wordy, let me just show you how this works. Here, as I said, is a phase one. Here's a phase two. Here is a phase three. Now notice, I have one hand chambered now. That hand can now engage in the opposite line. So I can do these forever. And I'm hoping you can see the circular motion of this. Let me turn sideways so that you can see. So one hand goes up, one hand follows, the other hand strikes. And when you strike, you're going to have one hand chambered. It'll be in the opposite line. It's ready to engage the opponent over here. Now you can also fracture phase threes. In other words, if I started a block because I wanted to do a phase three, but my opponent all of a sudden threw another strike, I can continue over to the other side by fracturing the phase three. I can start and then I can continue. In other words, I can put phase twos and threes together, just like Legos, and they never need to stop. I can start with one here, follow through over there, continue with a phase three, follow up with a phase two, and put them all together and continue. Once I add a phase one, it's over, usually. Because usually when you do a phase one, you have one hand chambered or one hand out of the way, not ready to engage your opponent. So again, think of these as being a circular saw blade. It's spinning like this. It can spin on any axis, cutting right through your opponent. So you can bring it up here, you can bring them down low, you can do them in all four quadrants, just like that. Practice these. Practice them with a tree, with two limbs. Practice them with a partner that's willing to hold his arms out there like this. Practice them with a wooden man. But it's really important to gain the sensitivity of dealing with a partner, because ultimately, as you'll see in the next tape, what we're trying to do is gain a sensitivity so that your opponent's move triggers your response. Now, you don't want to be able to be in a situation to think, okay, well, what move am I going to do? Because as fast as the mind can work, as fast as those synapses can fire, it's still too slow for self-defense. You have to make it reaction. So you train with a partner, have him throw a punch so that you can gain the sensitivity of a phase three. Start off with a phase 1, move to a phase 2, graduate to a phase 3. Start your phase 3 and then have him switch up and now throw another technique from the other side so that you can fracture the phase 3 and continue. So here is your phase 3s. And I'm going to really exaggerate these so you can see the circular motion, because that's what makes these so powerful. And whatever range you want to go, maybe you want to go close range with an elbow strike, follow up with a phase 2, or follow up with a phase 4 arm lock. Doesn't matter. We're going to go more into how these all link together in the next tape. But those are phase 3s. Phase 4s are joint locks and submissions. Any joint lock you know, any submission you know, is a phase 4 in the Blackhawk system. It could be a wrist lock, it could be an arm lock or shoulder lock, guillotine submission hold, doesn't matter. Phase 4. Phase 5 is takedowns and throws. So if it's a double leg takedown, a Greco-Roman takedown, a judo throw, it's phase 5 in the Blackhawk system. Now phase 6 is a transitional move. A phase 6 is when you move your body or you move your opponent's body in order to prepare for your next technique. For instance, say a strike comes in, I block, grab his wrist. If I were now actually that would be a phase 1. But if I jerk him down to throw him off balance, that's a phase 6, because I've positioned him for whatever technique I might want to follow up with. So if you step to the side, phase 6. If you pull your opponent off balance, phase 6. Okay, phase 7 is maintenance. Training, drills, eating, anything that you do to build the body's capacities is a phase 7. A phase 8, this is a tricky one. Phase 8 is play, but play is a little bit confusing when I say that it's play, because it's really, really important. You could think just playing with your PlayStation is play, and it is. But if you want to get good at something, I don't mean just good at something, but I mean really good at something, find ways to play at it. One of the things I do, and you'll see in subsequent tapes, I like to spar with a tennis ball on a string. And it's just like a cat. It's got a mind of its own, and I'm just always sparring with it and trying to get the best of it, and it'll come around and it'll tag me, and it is an inanimate little ball, and it gets through my defenses and it'll hit me, and it's a lot of fun. If you have a lot of fun at whatever you're doing, you're going to be very, very good at it. So try to incorporate play into everything that you do that you want to be really good at. Phase 9 is meditation and sleep. Phase 9 is when the mind or your awareness is focused and doing something, even if it's focusing on doing nothing, and the body is not engaged. Now, I'll give you some examples of how meditation works, though I'm not going to try to teach you to meditate. I'm sure you probably know more about it than I do. But meditation is when you take your awareness and you focus on a singularity. You're focusing on a candle, or you're focusing on a sound, or you're focusing on your breathing, but you're focusing on one singular thing to the exclusion of everything else. We need that in our lives because our minds multitask. Our minds are always thinking of 15 things at the same time, and we need to focus on a singularity in order to balance that out. Now, phase 10 is death. So that's the end of the road. So you can see from a phase 1 to a phase 10, it encompasses anything that the human body will do in this lifetime. So that's the phase system in Blackhawk martial arts. See you in the next installment where we will go over the response system of developing awesome self-defense techniques. Thank you.